Hello and welcome to AutoScene's first ever video podcast with me, Liam Kennedy. For your most up-to-date motor trade news, make sure you head to autosceneuk.co.uk and make sure you subscribe to our newsletter. Today I'm joined by Shane Teskey. Shane is the co-founder of vehicle data platform MotorCheck. Shane's going to tell us a little bit about the company and demonstrate the platform. Shane, welcome aboard.
I'm flattered to be the first person being interviewed by AutoScene. Big weight on my shoulders this morning, but hopefully we can talk about something somewhat interesting for your viewers.
Yeah, 100%. Well, first of all, why don't you tell us a bit about MotorCheck, who your target customers are, and what your business can offer the motor trade?
I mean, MotorCheck, for anyone who isn't aware, is a car history check company, Liam. In the first instance, that's how we present ourselves to car dealers. We do have a data arm as well that allows people to come to our servers and collect information over the APIs that we offer. But first and foremost, for car dealers, we're a car history check provider that helps them meet their due diligence for trading standards. So in the first instance, you can run a report on MotorCheck that will tell you all of the basics, okay? Whether the car has finance outstanding, whether it's ever been an insurance write-off, if its odometer history is correct, how many owners it's had, etc., etc. And that was our first offering nearly 7 years ago in the UK, was to produce a provenance check that was a better price than the competition, but one that we felt would be more user-friendly and something that we could build other functions into, make it a little bit more exciting to use than just the normal provenance check.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned your competition, these some very well-established names in this market that have been around for a very long time. How have you guys differentiated yourself from the competition?
So the market itself is dominated by two main players at the top end, and MotorCheck, really we came in as a nobody, as a third option, and it's taken us 7 years to get to the stage today where we have 6,500 dealers registered on the platform. And when we came first, there was only one way to do it, Liam, and that was by being cheaper. Because when it comes to provenance checks, unfortunately, people see them as a commodity and something that you just need to do. So we anticipated that we would be 40% cheaper than our competitors. And as it turned out, we're a good deal more than that, because there are facets of our report, for instance, where we don't charge for duplicate checks. The sticker price is 40% cheaper, sure, but when you come out the other end and you look at a bill, there's every chance that you're going to be at least 50 or 60% cheaper than what you were paying beforehand. So we like to think that people come for the price, but they stay for the service, if we want to use that old adage. And that really is down to our customer service team. We've got a great group of folks who are based in Glasgow, and they're active on our online chat all through business hours. And then you've got an escalation process where if we can't get an answer from the support team, it will come to either your account manager, the sales, or even to myself and some of the other directors. So we're very hands-on in looking after our customers. That's a really important part of our growth to date. And then we started to innovate with the check, Liam. So other than just covering the bases and ticking boxes, we really wanted to listen to our user base. And we asked people what it was they needed information on or where they needed help. And that's lent us to putting other stuff and features into our checks that nobody else has done. So without boring you, I'll just give you a couple of the examples, okay? You can print and host one of our car history checks next to a used car listing on your website if you'd like to. That's absolutely free of charge, and we have a function specifically for that. One thing we noticed was lots of our customers on the forecourt exchanging messages with people they had checked a car over on WhatsApp, asking them for pictures of the car, because these might have been part exchanges that they were thinking of buying in. And we thought, wouldn't it be really nice if those pictures would live in the car history check and stay there for the dealership when it was presented at the time of handover, so they could see that nothing had changed, right? That any scratches had been discussed carefully. So we built in an image capture system. And that's one of my favorite little functions on the report, because it allows you to send a text message to the person at the other end. They've got a web app to send up the images. And then there's some very clever technology which allows you put X-ray filters on the car, or special types of color palettes on the glass, which will really make any scratches or dents or cracks in the glass ping and be very easy for you to see. So it came from the insurance industry that the desktop engineers were using it, something called first notification of loss, and we've brought that into MotorCheck. So that's another first for us. Then we were looking at elements of data and what's sloshing around out there that hasn't made its way into a car history check yet. And we found that people like the BBC and Channel 4 at the time were taking a strong interest in the number of vehicles that are being sold as salvage, but not going through the official MyAfter or write-off databases. There's lots of programs on it, and we've sent out a lot of information about this. There's about 100,000 a year that don't get earmarked as having been written off. So we found a data source. We contracted with them on an exclusive for the trade, and that's built into our checks too. So where there is a write-off now against a vehicle, in 40% of the cases, we'll have images that go along with the crash damage the vehicle sustained. And then in 8% of cases where we raise a flag for a write-off, it's coming solely from this salvage data. So a very, very popular feature. In fact, a reason why some of the bigger names in the industry are using MotorCheck today.
Wow, yeah, there's obviously a huge amount of detail that you get out of even just a standard check with MotorCheck. One of the things that got me when I was looking over your website was the fact that you provide warranty information. Now, I've used vehicle data platforms before, back when I used to work in a dealership, and on a standard check we never actually got any warranty information through. But of course that's huge from a sales perspective. It obviously adds value to that vehicle, knowing that it still has a warranty remaining on it. Could you tell me a little bit more about that?
Excuse me. We're partnered worldwide with a company called Jato Dynamics. And Jato digitalized the original brochure information for every car as it comes onto the marketplace. And we've managed to retro engineer a link from a registration number back to the Jato brochure. And that's what helps us in the preparation of our checks to give an image of the car at the top. Some of the running cost feature that you'll see, like it's miles per gallon and how many liters it takes to fill it. And the last one that you've mentioned is the warranty information. So we simply cross-reference the data registration of the car with the warranty that it was given across, I think there's 5 headings in there, from anti-corrosion right through to breakdown assistance. And we'll highlight at the bottom of the check if any of that warranty is remaining or what of the warranty has been used already. So yeah, absolutely. It's a great feature that some of our independent customers really like. The information itself around warranty originates obviously with the manufacturer who sells it, but that's not the only place that we can source some information from the manufacturer. We also have a button that allows you retrieve the digital service record for the car as well. So if you're a franchise dealer bringing in a non-franchise car and the service history is missing or a bit flaky, on the report you can hit that button there and our team will go and import the digital service record from the information that the manufacturer has stored too, and that's proving very popular.
Yeah.
There's one other, Liam, actually, I forgot about, sorry. And this is a new feature that we're just pushing out. Would you believe we've been around talking to 254 councils across the UK, and we have them all popping their taxi records, so their vehicles that they license for private hire, into a database. And we now have that in MotorCheck as well. People in the industry say that if a car has been used as a taxi, it has the same depreciating effect as if it has been written off as a category D car, okay, because of the mileage it will sustain and everything. But we're also broadening that database out now, and it's going to include ex-police, ex-military, ex-ambulance, ex-fire vehicles, as well as ex-learner driver vehicles. So we're quite excited about that. That's a new section in the report that's there right now.
And Shane, is that only manufacturers' warranties, or do you cover third-party warranties as well?
Only manufacturers' warranties, I'm afraid. Yeah, we did think about bringing in private warranties and putting them into the check as well. But when we started our research, we found that a lot of the private warranties don't go with the car. they just stay with the person. So if the car has been part exchanged, then the warranty just is discontinued and it's not applicable going forward. So we didn't pursue that.
You do also have a valuation tool on your platform which is available to use. We all know used car valuations have been all over the place over the past couple of years. How have you guys navigated that, and what advice do you have to dealers when it comes to valuing a vehicle?
We're not valuation experts ourselves, and we wouldn't pretend to be. But in the odd occasion where I would be running checks or comparing the valuations, I'm always reassured that they tend to be very similar. And the big names in the industry, the cap values, the glasses values, the Auto Trader ones, they will agree for the most part around the value of a car. I don't know what it is, but the industry as a whole has leaned away from glasses at the independent level, surely, and I'm talking specifically about our customer base. But when they take some time to understand the methodology that glasses use, the retrospective analysis that they provide around what auctions are saying their cars are selling for and what the glasses guide had at the time, they're definitely worth a second look. We have found that their valuations have certainly gone on a bit of a journey, but over the past 3 or 4 years have zeroed right back into where they need to be. And of course, cap being one of the dominant providers, everybody will ask, what does it cap at? Okay. And for me, that's a different question to what is the value of the car. If you want to understand what is the value of the car, you need to know, well, who are you who's asking that question? Are you a franchise dealer buying one of your own franchise stock into retail? Are you a trader? Are you a private buyer? There's a lot of questions that come up for debate there. And then you'll have people like Auto Trader offering you a helicopter view of the market and using their intelligence and insights from their platform to zero in on a number versus cap. So if you want to know what it caps at, you go to cap. If you want to know what the valuation is, well, cap might be part of that, but there's other questions to consider as well. And for the most part, I find that they're all pretty good in directing a dealership to where he needs to be.
It's been quite a strange time post-COVID. Speaking with dealers, I know a lot of them are struggling to get the stock levels back up to how they were before. Prices have been hugely unpredictable. What do you see the market doing in 2023? Do you predict a return to normal?
Well, that's a loaded question, isn't it? And because you're recording this, I have to be careful how I answer it. You mentioned COVID, and I'd just like to say COVID, whilst it was a very difficult time for the industry, proved to be a really good time for MotorCheck. Certainly the doors closed and nobody was running checks. But what they were doing were going through their invoices and their suppliers and seeing where they could maybe cut costs post-COVID. And we signed up an awful amount of dealers at that time who have gone on to enjoy our checks and recommend us on the forums and whatnot. So COVID in the long run was good for us. We ended up meeting our targets as a business. What's going to happen in the future? Well, I think used car prices are going to stay very strong, purely because of the lack of supply at the new car end. There aren't enough chips, as we know, to produce these cars quickly enough for the demand, which means the leasing companies are going to be extending their rentals over 4 or 5 years. That will all come together to force, I suppose, a shortage of supply in the used car market. In the Republic of Ireland, where we have a sister company, we source an awful lot of vehicles from the UK, and we're lucky that way. We've got a big market on our doorstep. Yes, they attract a lot of taxes, but it's a very necessary source of vehicles. The UK doesn't really have that. The UK doesn't have another country with right-hand drive vehicles that it can just turn the tap on and bring them in. So we have to make do with the vehicles that are in our park at the moment, or the new ones that we're registering. And that's increasingly under pressure, which means it's going to be good for used car values. And if as a dealership, you've got a sustained supply of stock, I think you're probably going to be in a great position. I'd love to be a leasing company that had underwritten cars for 3 years based on the norm and having them coming back to me now, or, you know, at 40% more than what I'd underwritten them at. That must be a bonanza for them. But like everything, you've got difficulties on the new car supply then as well. So
From a customer's perspective, though, I'm sure they never saw this amount of equity in their PCPs that are coming to an end.
Correct, exactly. And I wonder, is there a cash bonanza out there? But it's like everything. If you're moving house and you're looking at the value of your house, you still need to buy the next house, or you still need to buy the next car. So if you're going to roll that equity forward into another new car, great. But how long are you going to be waiting for it? If you're going into a used car, you've probably seen the used car value jump by 40% anyway. For me, I would be encouraging people maybe to refinance those PCPs and hold on to the car a little bit longer. I think there's talk about an affordability crisis coming on people over the coming years, and with interest rates rising now, and we've seen what's happened in the mortgage market, we'll probably be going back to basics a little bit. And what I mean by that is looking after what we have, keeping our car, maybe spending a little bit more on the maintenance side, viewing it less as a disposable asset and something that actually we're going to have to hang on to a little bit longer. That means when people are buying used cars, they will probably have more consideration around its provenance. They'll want to ensure that the car is one of the good ones out there, and not the stuff that we see sloshing around that gets pushed from buyer to buyer because it has something negative in its history. So that's all good for MotorCheck.
Yeah, absolutely. Shane, we at AutoScene, we've recently been announced as the new media partner for the IMDA, so we're going to be providing their members with news and information on the motor trade. I understand that MotorCheck are also heavily involved with the IMDA. Can you tell me a bit about how you first got involved with them and what the benefit has been so far?
Well, we've been partners since the very beginning. Jim and Umesh told us about it when they were starting it off years ago. MotorCheck wasn't around that long either, and we really wanted to get involved and support the independent dealers. And as an organization, it's been very supportive of us. We like to see on their Facebook chat lots of mentions and support for MotorCheck, which has been great. For our growth, because we're a small company, Liam, we don't have £1 million marketing budget. It's been predicated on positive word of mouth. The dealer community, they like to talk, and it's good and bad, right? So for companies who make a mistake, unfortunately, it tends to follow them around for a long time. Yeah. But if you're doing a good job and dealers are very happy with you, then it can accelerate your growth. And the IMDA has been a very important part of that for us as well. And we look forward to continuing our support with that organization in any way we can.
And do you offer a discount to IMDA members?
We do. We have a landing page specifically for members that allows them to register for an account, and they'll get an element of free credit, which they can apply on the account to take it for a test drive. And after that, then all of our pricing profiles are tailor-made to the individual business. So depending on how many checks they're running per month, we have a sliding scale that we put against their fees. But if it's a cost thing that you're looking at, rest assured, by moving to MotorCheck, you will make a saving. That's beyond a shadow of a doubt. In fact, that was adjudicated on by one of the advertising authorities in the UK years ago. They had one quibble with us when we claimed the 40% saving. They said it's 70% you're saving. Why aren't you saying that? So that's why I said to you earlier, it will be sometimes significantly more than the 40%. And then after that, we'll look after them in exactly the same way that we look after any dealer who comes onto the platform.
Now, I'm really keen to see how this platform works. I'm really excited after hearing about it. I understand you've prepared a little demo. Can you show us how MotorCheck works?
Absolutely. I'll go through some of the reports for you and maybe bring up some examples of cars that had some scrappage on them. So bear with me while I share my screen, if that's possible. So are you able to see that okay?
I can see that okay.
Incidentally, this is where you would register for an account. You just come and pop your business email, and there's just some information about your company that you have to add there. It takes about literally a minute. And we will confirm that you are a dealer on the other side and apply some free credit for you. So I'm logged in here to MotorCheck, and it lands me on the screen where I'm running a brand new provenance check. But I'm going to go to my previous reports, where you can see in a quick overview any of the issues that we may have identified with those cars. So these guys have finance outstanding, and then we've got one here that has a condition alert against it. So I'll come to this car because it's a useful example. And you'll see the layout of the car, of the report here. We can show you that there's two issues, condition alerts and a recall check against it. And we're all clear in the following. And that acts as a menu. I can go to it. But if I scroll right down here and we get to the condition alert section, this particular car has two condition alerts, but it's showing clear on my after, which is the official write-off database for the UK, Liam. So if you are running this car on every other car history check provider, it will show us all clear. But we have two condition alerts against it. And if we click here to view 5 more images, are you able to see that tab?
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, so accident damage to the front, including suspension and near side rear damage. But look, nothing says it more than the picture.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is the type of information that's made MotorCheck so valuable to our customers. You don't need to get one of these every day, but if you catch 1 or 2 over the course of a couple of months, as a business, you've saved yourself a huge amount of heartache in buying in a car and possibly reselling one that has issues like that against it. If I pop right back to my check here and see, is there any more very quickly? There's an Audi Q5 that seemingly has a condition alert against it as well. Cat D salvage. Yeah. We can see some issues too. And that car as well was marked clear, as you can see on the My After database.
No, fantastic. That's some amount of detail. I've never came across images like that on different services that I've used in the past.
No, it is a first for us, and we're delighted to have it there. The taxi information as well will sit. I don't know if I can find a car very quickly to show you because we spoke about it earlier. This particular one has finance outstanding with the bank. We've got some functions you see built into the report here where you can verify the finance. That asks our team in Glasgow to confirm with the finance company that the finance is still outstanding. And we can recheck the finance from the report. You don't have to run a brand new report, or you can indeed schedule a finance recheck. So I can say, check that again in 7 days for me, please. That's useful for franchise dealers who are paying the finance off and they want to know when it's cleared on the register. Yeah. Rather than clicking buttons all the time, they can just ask the system to do it. Our mileage readings are all recorded and graphed, and we have a function that allows you update the reading that you just put in, or even ask for a mileage investigation, which would remove any erroneous readings in its history for your report. There's the digital service history that we spoke about, how you can request that to come through. And there's the taxi PSV check. Found on the taxi PSV database? No, it hasn't been.
Yeah, and how long does, if you request the information, how long does it take to come through?
Well, it depends on which section. So the recall check, you see here it's not checked. Yeah. I click the button now, start your stopwatch, and there's the answer back. So recall outstanding, no, and last checked on the 11th of the 10th. And that will give us a little history in the notes that we checked that car at 10:40 on the 11th of the 10th. Okay, it's an important part of the provenance check is documenting your activities and documenting the fact we checked, because Volkswagen might issue a recall on that car in 3 months' time, and we don't want the person who bought it bringing it back to us saying there was a recall, you shouldn't have sold it to me, it wasn't fit for purpose. They may be using that as a reason to get themselves out of a car that they no longer want. So we can evidence now in the check that we checked that. So most of the stuff that you'll click the button on is instant. When it comes down to the digital service record, there's a bit of manual intervention there. So that can take same business day. You'll get alerted by email when the report has been updated to when you request that information through. So I guess what I'd like to say at this point for anybody watching this interview who doesn't have a MotorCheck account, maybe we'll, on the website where we're hosting this video, we can put a button for them to register. We'd be very happy to put £20 free credit on the account for anybody who wants to come and check it out. We find that's really just the best way to evaluate the system, get down and dirty with some of the checks, maybe compare them with ones that you've run on another provider and see the level of detail that MotorCheck goes to over your incumbent. You can sign up, then you'll have your own account, you can pop credit on it and run checks as you need them, or get in touch with sales. If you're doing more than 20 checks a month, we'd be happy to put you on one of our monthly plans.
Well, I think we'll probably wrap it up there. I think we've been speaking for double the amount of time that we originally intended. So Shane, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, Liam. I mean, it's been a pleasure. Hopefully it's been useful for you. I know we wanted to take 15 minutes. We've probably run over on that, but no, it's been a pleasure, and continued success to yourselves and AutoScene and everyone at the IMDA. We're looking forward to being part of that success with you.
And thank you, Shane. Thanks for coming on. It has been much appreciated. Make sure you check out motorcheck.co.uk as well as autosceneuk.co.uk. I'll put the links in the description for this video. And to everybody at home, thank you for watching.